So recently on your YouTube channel, Matt Stefan Fishing, you made some predictions, and I thought a couple of them were really, really profound, and I'd like to touch on a couple of them. First of all, with the cancellation of events, I wanted to ask you, you certainly fish more tournaments than I fish, but do you think we are seeing the end of boat racing to our first spots? Do you think that we've reached a point where I mean, in the old days, they used to shoot off a shotgun and everybody would go
Yeah.
at once. But do you think we've reached a point where you got a half an hour to get to your spots and maybe we start fishing then, or what do you think?
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't surprise me to see some changes take place. In my personal opinion, boat speed is not the issue.
Right.
Tournament launches is not the issue. Unfortunately, accidents happen. I mean, they happen all of the time, whether it's just based on crazy circumstances or whether it's boating error. It happens. It's in my opinion, I don't know that it's a horsepower thing. You hear a lot of people talk about limiting
Yeah.
horsepower rating. You hear people talk about putting a speed limit in place. I really don't think that's the issue myself. I mean, it is interesting to me because I personally believe when you get to the higher level, in most instances, you're talking about anglers that are very experienced anglers that have been doing it for a long time, and they know when to run hot and they know when to pull off the throttle.
Yeah.
I get more concerned when I fish a smaller local event, and that's where I tend to see more things that concern me as a
Yeah.
driver.
Yeah.
But that doesn't mean we're not going to see some sort of regulations. I think more than anything with respect to that statement, I think we, whether it's fortunate or unfortunate, we live in a time period where everyone's looking to place blame on other
Yeah.
people, and you're talking about having to be fully insured in so many different areas to make sure that you're going to be okay if there's an accident that does happen because if an accident happens, it doesn't matter if you were directly involved or you have some sort of connection to it in some random crazy way, there's a chance they're going to come after you. So,
Yeah.
with respect to that prediction, and we've seen a lot of people talking about it, but I do know several people in my local area that are really contemplating not running tournaments because they weren't making money in the first place to
Right.
do it. They were doing it just to get people together. And when you start looking into getting insurance for events, it becomes expensive. So then you have the option of, either you pay for it out of pocket, which means the tournament directors or organizations are losing money often, or you reduce payout to pay for insurance. And depending on what that insurance costs, that can actually impact payout pretty good. So it
Right.
really is a question now for a lot of these, excuse me, for these smaller kind of the one-off, the open events, the local events, the ones that are not truly tournament organizations. It really comes down to, is it worth their effort
Yeah.
to run a tournament, which was really just a way to get people together to have some fun.
Well, I think you also said the magic word insurance because you have to have insurance for your events. And I feel like with the attention that several of the boating accidents have brought to the sport, um, I would imagine organizations have to think like insurance companies, and that's why I made the comment about have we seen the end of boat racing?
Yeah.
Um, to me, one of the things that an insurance company would want to hear is that our anglers go out. There's no rush to get to their spots and things like. That's why I asked that question because I think
Yeah.
you've got to think
And
like an
it
insurance
very
company.
well could be dictated from insurance down. I mean, the insurance companies, maybe they don't come directly out and say, hey, this is what you have to do, but maybe they come out and say the premium's going to cost
Right.
50% less if you do these things,
Right.
right? So from a
Exactly.
business standpoint, organizations may do it. And, I personally, having fished both the BPT and which is a format where you had time to
Right.
get to your starting spot, I really did enjoy that. I thought that was a really nice feature to not have to, push it or run there. And in a lot of instances, we actually got the travel trailer to a nearby
Yes.
launch. So we actually drove even less. So, from a safety standpoint, I think that, that was nice, especially in instances where maybe there was fog or wind. And, my back definitely enjoyed that aspect of it. But having said that, there is, something really competitive in me that fires up when boat numbers are being called
I
off
know.
and, you're running to your spot to try to be the first one to get there. So
I know.
I understand both sides, but I personally don't think if you look at a lot of the accidents that have happened, I don't think it's because we had 250 horse engines or we had, the guys were running 70 miles an hour. It was unfortunate
Yeah.
circumstances that, just led to those. I don't think it was the speed itself.
Camus Boats, from the mind of Earl Bentz. Excellence, tradition, and service, all part of the Camus advantage. On the water perfection. This is your next boat. Build your next boat at camusboats.com. I'm Keith Neiswanger. This is the Bass to Anglers podcast. Please remember to like and subscribe. If you'd like to reach us, please send us a direct message on Instagram at Bass Tour Anglers Podcast. Take care. Be safe. We'll talk to you next time.